Welcome to Nerf&Turf. I'm Andrew, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about Trouble in Terrace Town. Now, it's a game I've been playing with some of my groups now, and I've even played it with some of my younger cousins, and we've had a blast doing it. And it's essentially a game that you can play with anyone as long as you have enough Nerf blasters. You can play with people whether they enjoy Nerf or not. It's a fun, mental challenging game where it's very similar to Mafia, the card game where you sit in the group. However, this involves Nerf guns, so I love it. So Trouble in Terrace Town, or TTT as I will now call it, is a game where I generally use Nerf guns. People can use airsoft guns, you can use any variety of thing. I enjoy Nerf guns because it doesn't hurt and you can do it practically anywhere. When playing, I like to play with pistols. That way it's not a high capacity blaster, it's not a hard hitting blaster. Your goal isn't to shoot everybody, it's more the mental mind game of it. So what happens is when I play, I like to have cards to give everyone their roles. So the last game I played, it was 9 people. So what I had was 3 red cards, and the red cards stood for the traitors. 5 normal cards, or black cards, which stood for the innocents, or the bystanders. And then I had a joker card, and this is the detective. So the way to set up the game is you shuffle the cards, you pass them out to everyone, don't let anyone else see your card, and then I pick up everybody's cards face down so I can't see anybody's. We all stand in a circle, we put our fists in the middle, heads down, eyes closed, and then somebody says, alright traitors, put your thumbs up and open your eyes and make contact with the other traitor. That way, in that round it was 9 players, so we had 5 bystanders and then a detective, and then we had 3 traitors. And if the 3 traitors didn't know who the other traitors were, they might accidentally shoot each other. As what happened in one of our games, someone didn't see my thumb and thought I wasn't a traitor, so they shot me and lost a teammate. So what happens is the 3 traitors would then put their thumbs up, look up, and silently, so nobody else could hear them, and they would make eye contact and be like, cool, I know who my team is, put their hands down, and then the person would say, alright, that's enough time, everybody put your hands down, eyes open, let's start the game. And then you identify the detective. Now the detective is the person that everyone knows is an innocent. Right before the game starts, you go, okay, so who's the detective? The detective identifies himself. And the detective is the only known good guy. And he is also the only person that, upon somebody being shot, or blasted or nerfed, whatever you want to call it, the detective can walk up to the dead body and ask them, hey, what were you? And they have to tell him what they were, whether they were an innocent or a traitor. And that way they can start ruling out who's left and who's a traitor and who's going to be an innocent. Everybody's walking around with their blasters trying to the terrorists are trying to act like they're normal people, and the normal people are trying to figure out who it is, and everyone's, you know, kind of afraid. Everyone's kind of like, okay, nobody point your blaster, so we're all holding like the ends of our blasters, or holding our blasters down or in a pocket just to be like, hey, I'm not going to shoot anybody. And then if somebody's acting super suspicious, or you think they're sneaking up behind you, you shoot them. And then you try to get the detective to check them out. And what happens is you're not allowed to shoot And one of the tricks about the game to make sure people don't just start running around shooting everybody is if you shoot an innocent unprovoked, like if we're just standing around and I go bam and I'm an innocent and he's an innocent, then at the end of the round, before the start of the next round, I only get 1 dart in my blaster for the beginning of the game, and I can't carry any in my pockets. That way it adds a challenge to, you don't just run around shooting people, you got to be smart. You have to only shoot people that have threatened you or that you are positive are a terrorist. And the innocents win the game by taking out all 3 terrorists, and the terrorists win the game by taking out all the innocents. And then it's just a mind game from there. The terrorists can turn on each other to make it look like they're both innocent. The terrorists can try to protect the detective. I did that in one round. I pretended I was innocent, and I was like, hey, I'm going to protect you. So I'm following the detective around, never pointing my gun at him until all of a sudden, bam, and then I took out the rest of the innocents. And it was a very fun tactic that I got to use. But it's a game that just grows and goes as much as you want. And it's a game that can be played indoors because they're Nerf darts. They won't really break anything in your house. It can be played outside in a park. That's where I've played it most. It's generally considered wise to play it in a small contained area. That way it's easier to hide and do secret killings if you're a traitor trying to take everybody out, and nobody can see you shooting people. And so different battlegrounds are going to give you a different play style, and that's the fun part of it. Is it's an evolving game. It changes where you play, who you play it with, and any other rules you want to add to it from there. And a rule I like to play with when I play with people is I like to institute a no lying policy. And that sounds weird because it's like, what, but isn't that game based upon deception? No, it's based upon a mind game where you're trying to figure out who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. And so the way I like to approach that is then you can't lie. So I can't walk up to somebody and say, hey, are you a terrorist? First of all, that's a stupid question. Second of all, now if he says no, well, of course he's going to say no, but then maybe he's lying, and then he's going to have that guilt on his conscience going, man, I had to lie to play the game. And so instead I just instituted a rule that you can't ask somebody, hey, are you a terrorist? You can say, hey, can I trust you? And they can answer that however they want. They can say, yeah, I'm generally a trustworthy person, but we're playing a game right now, man, so don't ask me that question. But I generally like to put those rules in play. That way nobody feels guilty about lying, because I don't approve of lying. I don't enjoy games that involve lying, and so that's kind of how I found the loophole in this game. So it's still a fantastically fun game, but there's no lying involved. It's just wits and trying to figure out your opponent and have fun with that. And so I fully enjoy that game. It's one of my favorite Nerf games because I've gotten to play it with people that don't even like Nerf, and they're like, hey, this was a fun game even though I don't have interest in Nerf, but the game was interesting. And so it's a fun way to mix as many people as possible, those that love Nerf, those that don't, and those in between that really just don't care. That way everybody's involved and everyone's having a great time. If this explanation was helpful, please comment below, because I want to get this game out there so people can play this game and enjoy this game with their friends, with their family, and with their group of peers that they like to play this game with. Well, get on out there and nerf your turf. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.